Speaking of fun stuff, best bets. It's always fun when you win, and we've been crushing our best bets this season. So let's get started with you. Who is your top play in week 3?
I'm going back to a team I've talked about on this show a couple of times. I'm taking North Texas +3. Um, how the hell is North Texas the underdog at UNLV? I mean, UNLV is better, but I don't understand how North Texas is the dog here. Colin Wilson's power ratings make North Texas a 6.5 point favorite on a neutral field. So even if you give UNL, 2.5, like, okay, they're still like a 4 or 5 point favorite. SP Plus makes North Texas a 2 point favorite. Like I said, UNLV's better, but they were 2-10 last year. Their only wins were to New Mexico and Hawaii. Doug Bremfield won the starting job at a camp. He played like 3 games last year, dealt with injuries. He's got 5 touchdowns and 1 interception on the year, but most of that came against Idaho State. Last week against Cal, he was 18 of 33 with a touchdown and a pick, kind of just a blah performance. And then North Texas crushed UTEP, which we were on. They crushed Texas Southern. They lost to an SMU team that threw it all over the yard on them, but like UNLV can't do that. What I'm really, excited about this Mean Green team is they've kind of shown through the 3 games that they can do it in different ways. They're deep and they're versatile. Game 1 was the Austin Ani show. Talked about him a bunch. 29 years old. That's not a joke. That's not the, typical old college football. He's actually 29 years old. His birthday was 2 weeks ago. He turned 29. He spread the ball all over the field. Game 1, they had 4 running backs with at least 6 carries. 8 different players caught a pass. Game 2, Ani struggled, but Oscar Attaway kind of had his breakback game after injury. He had over 100 yards. Game 3, Ayo, he had over 100 yards, and Attaway also added 2 touchdowns. All this team does is hit home runs in the run game. They return 4 offensive linemen, and they have 4 stud backs. Adai and Attaway are 4th and 5th in the conference in yards per game. North Texas is 17th in the entire country in rushing play explosiveness. Adai is so fast. And then UNLV is 120th in the nation at defending rushing explosiveness. Oh. On defense, North Texas hasn't been great, but they don't allow big plays. UNLV is just 95th in the country in rushing after losing Charles Williams, who was the school's all-time leading rusher. So I think North Texas is just going to have such a big advantage when they have the ball. They're going to hit home run after home run on this defense. And I think their defense has shown enough. I think it'll be better than it has looked. And I should be able to limit UNLV from keeping up big plays. I think North Texas should be favored in this game. Honestly, I was going to make them my moneyline underdog pick, but I just liked it too much to do that. So I'm just going to make it my best bet. I like them as my best bet +3. I wouldn't hate a little money line pick as well.
I'm with you there. I do think UNLV, particularly in their receiving core, is one of the most improved units in the entire G5 universe this year. That being said, I do think you have to throw out that game against SMU for North Texas. SMU is light years better through the air than UNLV is. And in terms of game control and game flow, North Texas is going to be able to run the ball. They're not going to have to change their game plan whatsoever to account for a difficult UNLV defense. So I'm with you. I think, if this was a G5 game where there was a significant home field advantage, maybe this would be a stay away for me. But they play in the Raiders' home field. They'll probably get 12,000 people there. It's not going to be a crazy environment. It's certainly not going to be like what we saw with UTSA in the opener against Houston, where they pack a former pro stadium. Just not going to see that kind of impact from a home field advantage perspective. So I'm with you there. I've been playing a lot of unders thus far this year, kind of like biding my time. Nothing feels, sharper than nailing an under by 2 touchdowns, 10 points, but it's work. An unders work is never done. Even if you get that scoreless first quarter, you got to watch the whole game. You got to avoid those special teams and non-offensive touchdowns and kind of grinding it out. So I'm going to treat myself here with an over 74, Fresno State, USC. In my opinion, this is an over bettor's dream, this game. I mean, I won't belabor the point when it comes to USC's offense. They're super dynamic. Cal Williams already second nationally in QBR. Jordan Addison's pulling his best Chris Carter impersonation. All he does is catch touchdowns, 4 TDs through 2 weeks. The running game really got going against Stanford. Travis Dye went for over 100 and a TD. But where I zero in on this is USC's defense has been buoyed by 8 turnovers, which is absurd. You just can't rely on 4 turnovers a game, but that's what they've been getting, and it's masking the fact that everyone's running on them. Stanford ran on them. Rice's running backs ran for 5.6 yards per carry. When you remove the quarterback sacks, they had 152 rushing yards. That's not good. And that is not good against a Fresno team. We'll get into what Hainer in the passing game bringing to the table. Jordan Mims is probably the best running back in the Mountain West Conference. And this is
I'll
some
say it, he's better than Ronnie Rivers was. He's so
Oh,
good.
he
He is
is
so good.
absolutely better. Ronnie Rivers was, obviously a Swiss Army knife. They used him in the return game and out of the backfield, throwing him passes. But from a pure running back situation, just turn around, hand the ball to him. Mims has been great. And I think what's going to happen moving forward in this game is it becomes a pick your poison situation. Moreno, Cropper, Kelly, Pope, Nico, Remigio, all of these guys are matchup problems. And USC left a lot of the middle of the field, downfield passing. Tanner McKee wasn't exactly able to take full advantage of it. But watching that game, it was clear that USC was vulnerable. So when I look at all these offensive players on the table here and a Fresno team that gave up 35 points last week to Oregon State, 74 doesn't scare me off at all. I would play this up to 77. I think we're in store for an incredible game in Los Angeles, one of the top games of the week. Late kickoff at 10:30, but I'm going to go ahead with the over there.